The Florida Gators head to Oxford to play their final road game of the season, coming off a stunning 38-7 loss to Kentucky last week in Lexington. That loss means the Gators now have to win out to become bowl eligible. And so far this season, only one team has had success stopping the Lane train. But is this game about stopping it or redirecting it to Gainesville for 2026 and beyond? Gator Gameday starts now.
Welcome to Gator Gameday. We are inside of Weimer Hall of the College of Journalism and Communications at the University of Florida. Today, the Gators are back on the road for the final time this season, facing off against number 7 Ole Miss. I'm your host, Brooke Park, and alongside me today are my amazing analysts, Matt Binderman and Matisse Sanchez. Guys, how are you feeling about the game today? How big is this game for Florida's future?
Well, obviously this game is huge, but overall, I'm feeling fine. The Gators have yet another top 7 opponent on their schedule, on the road let alone. It's actually their 4th of the year, and I know they were able to beat Ole Miss last year, crush their playoff hopes, but that's going to make them hungry, and that's why I'm feeling just fine coming into today.
Yep, well, I'm excited for a couple of reasons. I'm excited, first of all, to be back on the desk with you guys, always a pleasure, and then second of all, I'm excited to see the Gators back at it on the road against Ole Miss. Their backs are against the wall, but I feel like we've been saying that for the last couple games because they've lost games that they maybe shouldn't have lost to against other teams. You know, they have nothing to lose, and I really want to see this Gators team, this desperate Gators team, play against a vengeful Ole Miss team.
Well, this is the first time that Ole Miss is ranked at home playing Florida, but Florida has not lost in Oxford since 2002. That may be misleading because they've only played twice from then till now. Well, the Gators are heading into the game on a loss from Kentucky. DJ Lagway, he threw for 83 yards and had 3 interceptions, which resulted in him getting benched. He leads the SEC and all of FBS with 12 interceptions, but in Monday's media availability, interim coach Billy Gonzalez said that Lagway will still play as the QB1 during practice this week.
Right now, in my mind, he's going to take 1 reps when we go out to practice today. But again, like I said, competition is great for everybody.
Well, Gonzalez is still running with the ones, but it hasn't been especially well on the road. DJ Lagway threw for twice as many interceptions as he has touchdowns away with a 60% completion rate. Meanwhile, at home, it's almost flipped. He has 7 touchdowns and 4 picks. The Gators will be in a very energetic environment away with people tailgating at the Grove and the student section being called the Club Red. Matisse, do you think that Lagway should be starting this away game?
Do I think he should start? Absolutely not. Will he start? That's most likely the case. Listen, when a QB at the University of Florida has, in week 12, we're in week 12 right now, he has more interceptions than touchdowns. That is a problem. That is a major problem, especially when you're looking at how DJ Lagway fared up in the preseason. He was one of the Heisman favorites. This is not what the Florida Gator fans were expecting. They were expecting this quarterback to take them to the promised land. Hasn't really happened. Will he start? Most likely, yes. I think that's the outcome. He has experience beating Ole Miss, and then on top of that, Florida's paying him the big bucks.
Yep, I totally agree with you there, Matisse. I don't think he deserves to start, as you said, but I do think he will be the starter. Just last week against Kentucky, he got benched going into the second half, but he had already thrown for 3 interceptions, as you mentioned earlier, Brooke. He's throwing into double coverage right now. That first defender should have gotten that pick. He simply hasn't looked up to the standards that us Florida fans thought that he would. This one right here, he's throwing a ball way overthrown. The deep safety is able to pick that off with ease. And once again, as Brooke mentioned earlier, he leads all of FBS with 12 interceptions on the season. Coming into the season, as you mentioned, we thought DJ Lagway would be a potential Heisman candidate. And not only has he underperformed, he's been one of the bottom QBs in the entire SEC, having the second to worst QBR in the SEC. So now how does a player like DJ Lagway, underperforming so much, really impact the mentality of this Gators locker room, Matisse?
Well, in many ways. I mean, so the quarterback of the team, the quarterback of the team is the heart and soul of the team. I say the engine is like the running back, but the heart and soul is really the quarterback. And just like how the heart pumps blood throughout all the organs, the quarterback pumps life and amazing plays into all these other divisions within the team, running backs and the wide receivers. So if he's not operating at full peak capacity, if he's not able to pump that blood into the other position groups, well, then the team is going to start to fail in all these small position groups, which is going to trickle down into a big snowball effect, which will result into losses for sure, and a decrease of performance.
Matisse, similar to how you mentioned, the quarterback is supposed to be the leader of the team, but how can DJ Lagway lead when he's been playing poorly constantly? Well, Gator Gameday's Haley Hurst and Michael Tubbs got to speak with Hunter DeLauder, the WRUF football beat reporter, who gave us more insight on how the locker room is actually affected.
Thank you, Brooke. We're here at the Hebner Football Complex where the Gators have been practicing all week long before hitting the road to head to Oxford. But after a poor performance last week against Kentucky, questions have risen whether this team has thrown a towel. Joining us today is WRUF football beat reporter Hunter DeLauder. Hunter, do you think there's been a shift in energy in the locker room in the last 3 weeks here for the Gators?
I do think there has been a little bit of a shift. I think it's been going downhill a little bit, especially Billy Napier leaves, Billy Gonzalez comes in. They have that whole week to prepare for the Georgia game, put all that effort into winning it. Unfortunately, emotional game, but they lost. And then you saw what happened in the Kentucky game. They came out flat and never recovered, and I don't know how much more they have left in the tank for Ole Miss.
Hunter, we saw Tank Hawkins opt out before the Kentucky game to preserve his redshirt eligibility. Would you expect to see any more players do that throughout the rest of the year?
I would expect to start seeing a domino effect here in the near future. I've already heard stuff about Nashawn Montgomery, Dallas Wilson, who obviously he's out for the year anyway with the injury, but Pup Howard, same thing. So start to see a couple more guys leaving, and it's going to be more about if they want to go talk to Billy Gonzalez about it.
Well, Hunter, thank you so much for your time to talk with us today. Brooke, back to you at the desk.
After hearing this, you can't be too shocked. As they mentioned, the Gators went through a head coaching change mid-season. Billy Napier got fired. The Gators are also stand at 3-6. They had one of the worst losses in recent history to Kentucky last week, falling by over 30 points. The locker room is bound to have a poor mindset, and it just makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. And you're talking about the recruits. So I don't know if this is foreshadowing, but under Dan Mullen, the season when he got fired in 2019, 60% of that class, 60% of the current roster redshirted and then transferred out, and 70% of the upcoming class ended up decommitting and going somewhere else. So I think that that's very important. But listen, when you look at this Florida locker room, even Ray Charles could tell that the locker room has been lost. I mean, everyone's redshirting. Nothing's really clicking. Everyone's giving up. Even in the Kentucky game, it did not pass the eye test on really if the players are giving up or not. It didn't pass it at all. And everyone's really looking at a clean reset. I feel like with a coaching change on the loom, everyone's just kind of pausing and waiting and seeing what the Gators do.
Well, that is very surprising to hear because there was so much hype around this Florida team before the season even started. They were ranked 15 in the AP poll before the season started, and they had a 7.5 win total for the preseason. But now that they're almost halfway in the season, they're at a 3-6 record, and even if they win out, they won't be able to beat that win total. So, Matt, what else did the Gators have to play for at this point?
Well, this Florida Gators team, they have to play for the brand that is the Florida Gators. The Florida Gators are known to be one of the most prestigious SEC schools. They in the past, they've been a powerhouse in the SEC in football, and in recent years, they just have not shown that. They've actually incredibly underperformed, and they need to finish the season to sustain their recruits. As you see here, they have not finished above 500 in SEC play since 2020, and that's simply not acceptable for the Florida Gators. If recruits see this team lose out, they see this team give up on the season and finish the season with 3 wins, they're bound to lose faith in the Florida Gators, and they're bound to transfer out. So that's why I'm saying this team needs to finish out the season strong. They need to play for the brand that is the Florida Gators and sustain these recruits.
Exactly. You mentioned playing for the brand, and just like how Billy Gonzalez says, they're playing for the patch. The patch is on their chest, and the name is just on the name tags. It's on their back, and they really have to play for the ability to show that this team does not quit and that they are mentally strong for the recruits as well. You have all these guys that are coming in. They kind of want to see, like, hey, listen, that's the team that I'll be joining next year. Like, you know, it's either, yes, I love how they're playing even when their backs are against the wall and when things are looking so bright, or, ooh, maybe I take a step back here and I rethink my decision.
Well, thank you guys so much for your insight. We're going to take a quick break, but when we get back, we're going to learn about what it will take for Lane Kiffin to come to Florida and be the next head coach. Gator Game Day will be right back.
Gator Game Day is brought to you by Meldon Law. With 54 years of experience, the only injury law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Meldon Law won't back down. And Gator Game Day is also brought to you by Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Locally owned, polished casual dining with a selection of farm-to-table, made-from-scratch food with flavors across Gator Nation. Spurrier's was built by Gators for Gators.
This is a history of APD, aesthetic print and design. The year was 2002, and these two created an apparel printing business in Gainesville. Casey handled creative, the artistic stuff. Jonathan managed logistics. He's the number cruncher. Their philosophy? All work is performed in-house. The crew at APD has printed more than 2 million shirts shipped to all 50 states. 2 decades later, they occasionally need a mediator, and now you know the story. APD, Aesthetic Print and Design, where we say printing is cool.
Welcome back to Gator Game Day. I'm your host, Brooke Park, with Matt Linderman and Matisse Sanchez alongside me today. Let's go ahead and take a look at the injury report for this week. We have more players out, but there is a new face to recognize, Roderick Kearney. He is questionable. Taylor Spirito also was out last week, but got moved to the questionable list. And Caleb Banks, he's now in doubtful. He's one of the best players on the team. He got surgery back in September, and there's hopes that he might be able to come back and make a return later this season. Gator Game Day got to speak with CBS Sports injury analyst Marty Jaramillo, who spoke a little bit more about why Gators continue to get hurt.
If you started with some underlying weakness, like more than likely some of these players did, particularly we have DJ Lagway from high school. If we're starting with underlying weakness and then all we train is sport specific, well, that disparity keeps getting worse and worse. You almost have to break down these muscle imbalances to build up again. I read a story on some of the training changes that Florida has tried to make, where they noticed that large muscle groups were excellent, but the small muscle groups weren't firing as well. One of the issues with DJ, right? I'm mentioning him a lot because he has so many and his durability is in question. But it's a perfect example of what I was mentioning, muscle imbalance. Quad dominance overpowering the hamstrings and the glutes. And that leads to these long-term chronic issues like hamstrings, hip, core, all muscles we need to absorb the demands of the sport.
Well, thank you very much, Marty. But injuries are not the sole reason why this team is 3-6. It simply can't be. But you see, if players have underlying injuries, coaches need to make that specific. They need to bring that part of the body up before they emphasize the other muscle groups.
For sure, and wear and tear is very real and clearly a negative factor for the Florida Gators this year, as we can unfortunately tell.
Well, for the healthy players tonight, their performance could be an audition for Lane Kiffin, who is a contender for Florida's next head coach. He is definitely the fan favorite and has the heaviest betting odds. Gator Game Day's Isaac Edelman spoke a little bit more about what makes him so attractive as a coach.
He is like a baby Steve Spurrier.
The Gators love Spurrier. They'd do anything to get another one. And according to CBS Sports analyst and former NFL quarterback Danny Cannell, Lane Kiffin might be it.
He said it was his idol growing up. He wears the visor. He talks a lot of trash. He's an offensive mind. I think he fits perfectly in Gainesville.
ESPN's Laura Rutledge also thinks that Kiffin's ties to Spurrier make him a good fit for Florida's head coach opening.
It's no secret that Kiffin has talked oftentimes about idolizing Steve Spurrier, and Florida, I think, means a lot to him.
But how will Florida Athletic Director Scott Strickland lure him here?
What do you do to set a coach up to say, look, we are going to back you up and support you in a quest to win national championships here at Florida?
It certainly helps that the Gators logo holds a lot of weight.
I think you have to appeal to him on resources are better. Historic success is better. They've won multiple national championships.
But what is it about Kiffin that has everyone in Gainesville calling his name?
It is one reason and one reason alone. And it's we talked about offense, but he's been really good with quarterbacks.
Try to do it himself, and he does.
The Rebels are one of the top teams in the country right now, so why would Kiffin walk away from an already great situation?
You leave a place that you've built such an incredible culture and done great things. You leave because you think that you're going to do better at the next spot.
The Kiffin rumors will certainly heat up Saturday night when Ole Miss hosts Florida and Oxford.
People are only human, right? You got to be thinking about, let me really pay attention to this other roster. I mean, you got to wonder if, in scouting the film this week and game planning, if he's thinking, oh my goodness, well, I really like this player or I like that player. It's got to be part of the thought process.
There's a lot of factors that go into deciding to become the next head coach at a school like the University of Florida. And maybe staring down the statue of the head ball coach proves to be a difference maker. After all, Lane Kiffin has said that he idolizes Steve Spurrier, and nothing says a dream job more than following your hero's footsteps. Reporting for Gator Gameday, I'm Isaac Edelman.
Danny Cannell and Laura Rutledge did give some reasons as why Lane Kiffin could be a good fit for Florida. In Monday's media availability, Lane Kiffin was asked, what makes a job attractive? So Matt, how do you think Florida fits in that perspective?
Well, let's walk through this quote right here. He said, what makes a job appealing to Lane Kiffin? It used to be facilities and practice fields. Just last week, Matisse Sanchez, our very own Gator Game Day, showed you having a facility, a multi-million-dollar practice facility for the Florida Gators. And now he said that that's changed, and now it's how much NIL do you have? As of 2024, Florida is ranked to have the 4th most NIL efforts in all of college football. He also mentioned national championships and Heisman winners. Past 30 years, Florida has multiple of both. Multiple Heismans, multiple national championships. He talks about location to talent. Florida is and has been and will continue to be one of the most talented states for college football. It just makes sense for Kiffin to come to Florida. We check all of his boxes. It just makes sense.
For sure, and all the points you said were absolutely amazing, but I understand that this season as a whole has not been one of the best pitches for Florida for Kiffin to come to Gainesville. But can you imagine the luggage that he brings paired with the resources that the University of Florida has? I mean, it'd be a match made in heaven. Like, just look at this. He already has experience in the big leagues, 2-time Conference USA champion with FAU in 2017 and in 2019. But we understand that UF is looking for a national championship experience. But UF has a track record of hiring successful coaches that had no national championship experience that then found success at the University of Florida. Just look at Urban Meyer and Steve Spurrier. Those names should ring a bell, right? And remember, if you want national championship experience, he actually does have some national championship experience. Remember that he was an assistant coach under Nick Saban in 2015. So.
Yeah, and another point of attractiveness could be if the Gators pull out a win against Ole Miss tonight. Last year in the Swamp, they were able to ruin Ole Miss's chances of being in the college football playoffs, and a win today could potentially do the same thing. However, in order for the Gators to come out on top, there are some keys to the game. Let's take a look. Having mistake-free football, stopping the run, and making plays on special teams. Matisse, what do you think is the most important thing the Gators do today?
Well, I believe that limiting turnovers is a pretty good place to start. I mean, 16 turnovers on the season is not good at all. And when you have these turnovers, it not only you're not only losing the ball, but you're also giving the other team a field advantage. So it's not good to, but we can start the turnovers. And second of all, like you mentioned, Brooke, I call these the Matisse's 3 no's. Keys to the game are no penalties, no turnovers, and no injuries. By doing this, you will automatically limit the turnovers, and it will essentially, they all complement each other. So if you just go ahead and go back to the basics, you protect the ball, you protect lag weight, you go ahead and run the fundamentals, you will see that it's not a guarantee that they're going to be able to win out in dominant fashion, but at least it puts the Gators in position to be successful, to then capitalize and to potentially win the game.
So now, I totally agree with you there, Matisse. One word that I heard you say quite a few times there was the word if. If the Gators are able to do this, if the Gators are able to do that. Well, we simply just have not seen a full, complete game for the Gators this season, and I'm hoping today they can finally pull that out. But what stands out to me the most is simply containing the run and stopping Kawan Lacey and Trinidad Chambliss. Kawan Lacey has the most touchdowns and most rushing touchdowns in all of FBS with 16. You see he's able to find the hole, make defenders miss, and he's a hard guy to bring down. Trinidad Chambliss as well is able to scramble and find receivers open downfield as well as make the most out of broken plays. Kawan Lacey once again splitting the holes in the defense and making the most out of a play. Chambliss, I will add, is 3rd in rushing yards for SEC QBs and has had a pretty dominant year so far, as he was a D2 quarterback last year. You see him right here, scrambling out to the left, able to find himself into the end zone and continue, and his reign and dominance shows how much the Gators really need to contain and stop the run today.
Well, thank you guys so much for your insight, and we'll see if the ifs turn into reality. Gator Game Day is going to take a quick break, but when we get back, we are going to play our favorite game, Chomped or Swamped. Gator Game Day, we'll be right back.
Jeffrey, what are you doing?
Well, I'm joining the band, of course. Since Meldon Law is the official law firm partner of the Florida Gators, I want to help.
Dad, we're litigators. Let's stick to helping people in the courtroom.
Well, can we still hang out and jam a little bit? At Meldon Law, we won't back down.
Hi there, this is Coach Steve Spurrier, and I want to let you know that by popular demand, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's delicious brunch is now served in a premium buffet. You have spoken, we have listened, and we're now serving Gainesville's only elevated buffet, complete with an omelet station, ginger sage chicken sausage, shredded short rib, and of course our chicken and waffles. Plus, you can enjoy bottomless mimosas and Bloody Marys. So join us every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 for the best brunch in town.
Welcome back to Gator Game Day. I'm your host, Brooke Park, with Matt Blinderman and Matisse Sanchez. Let's go ahead and take a look at the college football playoff bracket for week 2. There are 8 SEC teams in the bracket, but 5 in the top 10. Matisse, is there anything that stands out to you?
Oh man, oh boy, is there something that stands out? Yes, there is something that stands out. That green team at number 12, USF, that team right there, I never in a million years would I have expected that team to have been there, University of South Florida, in the college football playoffs at this point in time. I mean, you're looking at the teams that there are in Florida. This isn't like Delaware or any other small state where there are not that many, big name universities. All these teams with all these colleges in Florida in general, that's the team that makes it in the college playoffs. I mean, kudos to them.
Thank you, Matisse. Now we're going to play Chomped or Swamped. It's our favorite game here at Gator Game Day, so I am going to say a take, and my analysts here are going to say if they agree that take, they're going to chomp that take, and if they disagree, they're going to swamp that take. Are you guys ready to get started?
I'm excited.
All right, take number 1. Lane Kiffin will be Florida's next head coach. What do you guys think, Matt?
I'm going to chomp that take. As I said earlier, he described what was a perfect job to him. And once again, as I mentioned earlier, Florida fits almost everything that he wants. We have national championships. We're a prestigious school that gets money from their NIL boosters. I'm going to chomp that take. I think he'll be here next year.
Well, as the saying goes, you got to surround yourself with people that are smart, that are just as smart or smarter than you, and that was an insanely smart take. So I will for sure chomp this. I definitely think that Lane Kiffin will be at the University of Florida in Gainesville come January, February. He will be here, and some good things will happen.
Perfect. Moving on to take number 2. Florida will end Ole Miss playoff hopes again. What do you guys think?
Ooh, this is a tough one. It's a tough one. I'm gonna chomp that take. As we were saying earlier, all these ifs, you mentioned turn these ifs into reality. I think today is finally the day. Florida plays their first full complete game, let alone at home or on the road. I think Florida upsets this Ole Miss team and comes out with a win. I think they're finally able to prove the talent that this roster has, and I think they're gonna upset Ole Miss tonight.
Wow. Matt, I love you, so I'm not going to take that back, but I will most definitely swamp that. I do not think it's going to happen. I feel like it would just take too much, unless if the ifs that I mentioned, those come into play. Then maybe, just maybe, it'll put us in position to make an upset happen.
Well, as I was saying, I think this is finally the week. Those ifs become reality, and the ifs turn into do's and did.
All right, well, the final take for today, DJ Lagway gets benched again. What do you guys think?
You know what? I'm going to swamp this take. DJ's going to play his best game of the year. DJ has obviously shown throughout the season that he hasn't been the quarterback that we initially thought or wanted him to, or hoped he would be. But I think finally is the game. He plays a complete game. He balls out tonight, to say. And I think he does not get benched.
Okay. Well, DJ Lagway has been like this the whole season, so I will most definitely chomp that. And I will chomp it because I believe that he will have an interception. And by having an interception, I feel like Billy Gonzalez, he cuts it right there. He pulls the plug and he goes, all right, Tramel Jones, go for it. Take his place. I believe it's all that one interception.
Well, thank you guys so much for your insight. And from all of us here at Gator Game Day, including our very hardworking production team, thank you so much for tuning in. Next week, we will be back outside on the lawn when Tennessee comes to town to play Gators in the Swamp. See you next time. Have a good one.
Gator Game Day is brought to you by Meldon Law. With 54 years of experience, the only injury law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Meldon Law won't back down. And Gator Game Day is also brought to you by Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, locally owned, polished casual dining with a selection of farm-to-table, made-from-scratch food with flavors across Gator Nation. Spurrier's was built by Gators for Gators.